The winning blueprint presents.
While you're here, go ahead and sub up.
For those of you who don't know, I'm the host of the program In the Lab Room, Lou. Thank you for joining me. Simply here talking football. Watched a few preseason games over the weekend. Want to break them down. Here to talk about the Philadelphia Eagles in their first preseason matchup versus the New England Patriots, a team they've been scrimmaging against all week long. And so teams were very familiar with each other over the last couple of days. And I thought that the Eagles came out and showed well in some instances, and some others, there's some room for improvement. So let's talk about the Eagles' performance in this preseason game. Again, not going to be long-winded, get straight to the points, and then get out of here. So the first thing that you noticed, and it jumped off the screen at you, was this 3-4 defense is going to be a work in progress. I talk about this all the time. When you make a switch from a 4-3 defense to a 3-4 defense, it's a work in progress. It's a 2-year operation to really be at the level where you can compete at an extremely high level. Most times, teams don't just dive into a 3-4 defense and hit the ground running. You're going to have the bumps in the road. Guys are going to have to come over. You're going to have to bring in new personnel because a lot of times you don't have that nose tackle in a 4-3 defense because you got to go out and get that one guy that can play over the center and eat up double teams and be immovable inside that defense. You got to go get that guy. Now, a lot of times he's not on the roster. You got to go find outside linebackers because not all defensive ends can just stand up. And so you got to go get those guys. You got to get another extra inside linebacker if you don't already have another guy capable of starting, because in a 4-3 defense, you only have one middle linebacker. So a lot of different parts that aren't necessarily interchangeable when you go to a 3-4 defense. You're going to have mistakes. And the Eagles haven't been doing a lot of tackling in practice. And it showed. And we'll talk about that here in a second. But look, first play of the game, Isaac Sopoaga, guy you brought over from the 49ers in free agency, gets moved off of the spot. Combine that with middle linebacker, one of your middle linebackers, in D'Amico Ryans, not being where he's supposed to be, overrunning the play, out of position. Both of these things up the middle of your defense. You can't have two mistakes on any given play, especially on the run, in the interior of your defense. If you do, the result, 62-yard run on the first play of the game. And so guys have to get in their run fix. Guys have to do their job, be where they're supposed to be when they're supposed to be there. Guess what? That's part of the mistakes and the growing pains of playing a 3-4 defense. There will be more of these throughout the course of the season, but you'll get better at the defense. And you'll know when your team finally gets it on the defensive side of the football. But that was an ugly start to this game. And Michael Kendricks misses a tackle. And I talked about the lack of tackling in practice. This is something that the Eagles struggled with a season ago. Tackling ball carriers. Well, Michael Kendricks continues that trend as he misses on a third down. And he had him wrapped up on 3rd and 2 inside the 15-yard line. Did Michael Kendricks, with Garrett Blunt, powers through him, picks up about 5 on a play where he could have easily been tackled for a 1-yard gain and been forced to kick a field goal, or the Patriots would have had to make a tough decision and go for it. Instead, powers right through the tackle, the would-be tackle of Michael Kendricks, picks up the first down, and that was about the 5th play on a 6-play drive. 6 plays, 6 runs, touchdown for the Patriots. Doesn't get much easier than that. Very lackluster start to the season on the defensive side of the football for the Philadelphia Eagles. Again, 3-4 defense going to be a work in progress. But one thing that isn't a work in progress, that shouldn't be at this level, tackling. Eagles need to be better at that in 2013 if they want to be a better defense. Look at the offensive side of the football. I thought Michael Pitt was razor sharp. Ow! I just cut myself. Razor sharp early in this game. I mean, the throw on 3rd down to Jason Avant, what can you say about that? Thing of beauty. I mean, that's vintage Michael Vick. Hangs in a pocket, lets it rip on a rope, frozen rope at that. Avant plucks it out of the air. And I think Avant is one of those underrated 3rd down receivers where you get him the football on 3rd down and he just makes it happen on 3rd down. Picks up a nice chunk of yardage, sets up the next throw for Vick, which was just a gorgeous pitch and catch. Deshaun Jackson takes it deep on a vertical on the best corner for the New England Patriots in Aqib Talib. Just runs by him. Vic lays it out there beautifully. I mean, you couldn't have thrown it any better. Simply walked up and handed it to Deshaun Jackson, breastfed him, beautiful throw and catch. Jackson rolls into the end zone for a deep ball touchdown. It doesn't get much better than that on the offensive side of football. I mean, if you're the Eagles, that's how you script it coming out of the gate. Boom, bang, touchdown. I mean, that's how easy it was. It looked good. It was fluid, and I thought that was a really good start offensively for Chip Kelly and the Philadelphia Eagles. You look at back on the defensive side of football on the second possession, Brady didn't go back to throw it at all on that first possession. Didn't need to. And so his first pass came on that next possession, and it was great coverage on that first attempt. As Fletcher Cox got pressure on Brady because the coverage behind him was excellent. Brady had to hold on to the football longer than he wanted to. Fletcher Cox slammed Brady down to the ground, but not before he was able to get it away, but it was incomplete. One of the few incompletions for Brady all night. He was excellent against this defense. And let's talk about Bradley Fletcher. One of the cornerbacks who went and got in free agency from the St. Louis Rams. I thought he played really good coverage all night long. I thought that Brady, look, we're talking about Tom Brady. We're talking about Thomas Brady. Even though he's 36, man, he is still out there rifling that football around, being very cerebral. And there's not much you can do with some of these passes. I mean, this guy, Kimbrell Tompkins, caught a couple of passes, and Fletcher was all over him. I mean, Bradley Fletcher was draped on this guy, and Brady just threw this guy open. And not much you can do about that. I thought Bradley Fletcher had solid coverage, even a touchdown pass to Stephen Ridley in the end zone. I thought Michael Kendricks had good coverage. You can't defend the perfect pass. You just simply can't. And I thought that even though you had guys in positions, Brady just out-executed you with the perfect pass. There's nothing you can do about that. So I don't want you to get discouraged about some of the pass defense because it was Tom Brady. It was really good passes, and your guys were in positions to make plays. Brady just beat your guys, and it's Tom Brady, for God's sake, okay? So on his lone grab, Riley Cooper received a mixed reception. You heard a spatter of boos, but more cheers than boos, and I thought that good to see the Eagles fans receiving him in a certain way, I guess. I really don't feel any type of way about it. Just thought it was very interesting that he received some boos, some cheers. Probably the real test will be when he goes on the road. That's when you'll see how people really receive him because, of course, the home fans are going to get over it and receive you a lot quickly, more so than fans of other teams. So we'll see how that goes when you hit the road. But the offensive line gave up a sack and a forced fumble when Nick Foles was in the game. Chandler Jones, Tommy Kelly converged on Foles, forcing the football out. Patriots took over after the fumble, but this is a very young offensive line. I thought Lane Johnson. This man was stout, and he was my favorite offensive lineman in this draft, and he looked the part. I mean, he wasn't moving. Guys weren't goal rushing him or beating him with speed rush. I saw the athleticism. I love Lane Johnson. I thought he was out there playing really good football. I think you really got yourself a gem in Lane Johnson. And no Jason Peters out there, so that was something to watch. Again, I think you're going to be fine on the offensive line. I thought they did a good job overall. Gave Bryce Brown some lanes to run. I thought that Chris Polk had some lanes to run as well. And so I thought the offensive line was solid, minus Jason Peters. Lane Johnson was really good. So that's an encouraging sign if you're a Philadelphia Eagles fan. And I want to finish up with this because I thought at its core, the essence of what Chip Kelly wants to do on the offensive side of football. And he said, yeah, we're not going to showcase a lot of no-huddle. We want to keep it basic. He couldn't help himself. First possession of the second quarter, I thought the offense and Chip Kelly at its core. And again, the essence of what he wants to do offensively was that first possession of the second quarter. Nick Foles takes the team down the field, and he beautifully orchestrated a 10-play, 66-yard 3-minute and 30-second no huddle offense for a touchdown. And no substitution. Patriots were gassed. Eagles were simply out executing them. They knew where they wanted to go with the football. They got it there. Nick Foles spread the ball around to different receivers. Bryce Brown caught it out of the backfield. He ran it. He ultimately scored the touchdown on about an 8-yard run up the middle. And the Patriots were tired. You could tell on that 8-yard run, no resistance. They were gassed. And I think that is at its core what Chip Kelly wants to do in this league. Run you up and down, have the players look over to the sidelines to get the play, and they were snapping the ball with only 7 seconds coming off the play clock. I mean, they were moving that fast. And so I think that's what you're going to see from this Eagles offense this season. Will it always work? No. But I'm telling you right now, when it's on and it's clicking, that's going to be hard to stop because you get teams tired and they can't substitute. You're going to have some guys sucking for air and out there really trying to get some air and sucking the wind. And I'm telling you, it's going to work and prove to work and give you huge dividends in this season if you can get it to work. The enemy of this offense is incompletions and loss of yardage and sacks. If you have an incomplete pass, you can't speed up the tempo. If you got a tackle for a loss in the backfield, you can't speed up the tempo. If you got a guy 30 yards down the field on a missed attempt, you can't speed up the tempo. So anytime the ball hits the ground, anytime it's a negative play, it's going to derail what the Eagles want to do. But on this given possession, there were no setbacks. The ball was going forward. Guys were catching the football. Eagles were getting positive yardage. That's what they want to do. And I thought that was the essence of what Chip Kelly wants to do offensively for this Philadelphia Eagles football team. And that is what I saw in the Eagles' first preseason game.
Like the content? Want more? Sub up.